welcome back to another sewing tutorial. My name is Ann-Sophie and I'm the person behind Sewing with Solana. And I posted a reel on Instagram a week ago and I promised you I would film an in-depth tutorial of how to make a makeup bag. And because the tutorial I posted on Instagram was very quick and so many of you were interested, so many asked for an in-depth tutorial, so here we are. For me, I'm gonna be honest, like it was not easy figuring out how to sew this makeup bag, but I feel like for a lot of people this would be an easy project, but to me, like sewing clothes makes so much more sense. Like, I don't know, my brain just understands how to draft pattern, how to put, I don't know, like clothes together. But when it came to this makeup bag, it took me really a few tries until I figured out a good way, like an easy way, how to make a nice makeup bag. So I'm going to teach you how I do it. I'm sure there's other YouTube videos and other people out there who do it very differently. But yeah, I'm going to show you my way, and maybe my way also works good for you. And also, like, one of the reasons why I was struggling a bit, because we need to sew in a zipper. And I find it easier sewing in invisible zippers. Just I think because I have much more practice with them. But I feel like for this makeup bag it's nicer using one of these zippers here. So I'm going to show you how I sew in my zipper. I know that's not the correct way to do it, but this is for me the easiest way to do it, and it will also look super nice at the end. But yeah, if you have any tips of how to do it differently, just leave a comment and we can all learn from each other. But yeah, I'm going to show you now how to make this makeup bag, so let's go. The first thing is all the materials. So I'm gonna use my zipper. This one is 30 centimeters long and it is in a beige color. And then I use yellow for the lining. And then I have this floral fabric, which I want to be the outside of my makeup bag. And I just think it's super nice when you have two different colors, like one plain color for the inside and then a cute floral print for the outside. And then I got this fluffy, like, I know someone asked me what is this called, and I have no idea. I just went into a fabric store when I went to buy it and I just showed her a photo of like a makeup bag of what I wanted to do, and then she told me to get this. Like, they had so many different options, but I just, like, she told me to get this one because this was the thickest. I think it's just like a lining or a facing, I don't know. I'm gonna do some googling and then I'm gonna write it in the description. I already cut out my two fabric pieces and mine are 32 centimeters wide and I made them 50 centimeters long. And then this fluffy material, let's call it, you find in the description what it's actually called, I cut it out just like a tiny bit bigger, and then once we have sewn the outside fabric onto the fluffy material, we can then cut it all into the same size. I just found it for myself that it's a bit better if it first is a bit bigger. Yeah, and then we can cut it once it's all sewn together. And the first thing we need to do now is we take our outside fabric and we need to mark some lines on it, because when we sew the two materials, like the outside fabric and the fluffy material together, we're gonna sew quite a few lines on there. You can either just sew straight lines, or then you can also make them diagonal. You can do whatever you want. I also saw some people just doing like crazy stitching, like going in circles and everything, so really, like, it's up to you. I'm gonna do like straight lines, so if you want to, you can follow me here, or you can also try out something else. I made my marks with blue chalk or chalk, I still don't really know how to pronounce it. But I would recommend you, actually, there's some pens out there that you can buy and you can mark stuff on your fabrics, and then after you can just go over it with your iron, and with the heat all the marks disappear again. So maybe actually next time I'm going to a fabric store, I'm going to have a look for one of those pens. And maybe if you go to a fabric store to sew this project, maybe you can also have a look for a pen like this. And then here is what the lines look like. You really should be able to see them just so you can follow them. And now it's time to sew along the mark that we have made. And I changed my stitch length to 3. I put it a bit higher than normal. And then you just follow them. Like, it will take a bit of a time, and I always front and back stitch every time I start and finish sewing. So this is what it looks like now that we have sewn along all the lines, and now we can cut this off. So here we have our zipper, right? And right now we have the good side facing us. But what we want to do is we're gonna flip it with the bad side facing us. And then I'm gonna open the zipper and we're gonna sew this part onto the fabric, because then the zipper, when it's closed again, will be like this, which is what we want. So again, this is what our zipper looks like with the good side facing us. We turn it the other way, then I'm gonna open it, because for me it's easier sewing it when the zipper is open. And now we're gonna sew along here. So, and what I'm doing now is I'm gonna make sure the needle is up, and now I'm just gonna pull this away, and now I'm closing the zipper, and now I go underneath my needle and foot again, and this time I'm gonna start sewing again like a few centimeters back, and now I make sure that the needle is exactly going into where it used to go before, and now I'm gonna start sewing again. And now I'm just gonna cut this thread off, and also on the other side. So this is what it looks like now, right? So this is what it will look like, but right now we have the zipper down here, and now we're just gonna fold the fabric in half. And now we're gonna sew this part of the zipper onto the fabric down here. And now again, I'm pulling the fabric away, open up the zipper, and now we can cut this off again, and the same on the other side. And I'm just gonna cut all the other thread off as well. So far, so good. Right now we have the zipper attached to the outside fabric, and now we need to take our inside fabric and also attach it to the zipper. So now I flipped it with the bad side facing us again, and what we want to do. So here we have the zipper, and now we're gonna focus on this side here, and we're taking the lining, like my yellow fabric, and I'm gonna place it on top here. And now we're just gonna sew the yellow fabric onto this part here. And now I'm moving the fabric again and I'm opening the zipper again. And now I want to show you how nice it looks now. So now here we have the outside and then the zipper, and then we have the lining. So we don't see all this in here. So it's now sandwiched in between the two fabrics and it looks perfect. So now this is what it looks like. Here we have the outside and here we have the lining. And here's the zipper with the bad side facing us. And now we're gonna fold the lining in half. And now we're gonna attach it to the zipper right here. So this is what it looks like. We want to sew this onto here, and I'm just gonna flip it the other way and so have this side facing me, but it doesn't really matter. And now I'm gonna open the zipper again. So here's what it looks like. Here we have the outside and the inside. And now it looks like now. It still looks a bit weird, but the zipper is in, which is very good. But one thing we want to do now, because now sometimes when you have a zipper and you don't want to get any fabric stuck in it when you open or close it, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew along here onto the fabric, and while we sew we're just gonna make sure that we pull the fabric of the inside and the outside a bit away from the zipper, and then we're just gonna do a top stitch all the way along here and on the other side as well. And I'm gonna do this by moving my needle to the right. So here's what it looks like, and now we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So now I cut a piece of fabric in the fabric of the lining, and it's 4 centimeters wide and 11 centimeters long. And now I take a safety pin. And now I cut it in half. I'm gonna fold this in half now, and then I'm gonna make a little cut down here. And also on this side. Because what we want to do now, we're gonna fold it like this, and now we want to make sure that here where we made the cut is lining up with our zipper. And what we want to do now is we want to sew along here, and here where the zipper is, we're gonna sew in one of those straps. So the strap is gonna be in between here, right where the zipper is, and we're gonna sew across here. And now I'm just going to check what it looks like, if I need to open it up again. Perfect. This is what we want it to look like. I'm just going to push it all the way out so you see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like, and later on we're gonna fold in the corners, but first we have to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm going to make sure that the yellow is facing me again. I find it easier now if I open the zipper up, because I feel like when the zipper is closed, it's super hard sewing close to the edge here. So I'm opening up my zipper, oops, and then place this here. And when you sew, just make sure that that this part here doesn't open up, but that it's closed. So just take it slow, start sewing from here across here, and make sure that these don't go apart but stay together. And the next step is now you need to measure how long this part is. And for me, that's, let's say, around 25 centimeters. I'm gonna now use my outside fabric again because we're gonna finish off the raw edges here. So I'm gonna use the outside fabric just because I think it's a nice contrast. So I'm gonna make 2 long straps, like I cut out 2 straps, like one for this side and one for this side. I'm gonna make mine just a bit longer, so I'm just gonna make them 30 centimeters long and 5 centimeters wide. The first thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut this off on the other side as well. So now we're just gonna start focusing on one side as always, and we lay it in front of us. And here where the colors are more colorful is the good side. So we want the good side facing down, the bad side facing us, and we're just gonna make sure that there's a bit of fabric hanging over on both sides. And now we're just gonna sew straight down here. And now we flip it the other way. Fold this in half so it's touching the edge here. And then we just fold it over. And then this is what it looks like on one side, and this is the other side. And now we're doing exactly the same over here. And now we can just cut these parts off. And now what we want to do is each, like we have 4 corners, like this one, and then down here. And what we want to do is we're gonna pull it apart. Let's do it this way. So let's have the zipper facing us, and then we're gonna pull this apart, and then we need to sew across here. And then we're doing the same on this side, pull it apart, sew across here, and also on the other sides. I'm gonna measure 5 centimeters away from my corner. I'm gonna make a mark here. You know what, actually I'm gonna do 6 centimeters. So I'm gonna sew across here now. Now you can just turn it the other way to see if you like it. Maybe you're also gonna make your corner 6 centimeters, maybe more, maybe less, totally up to you. So this is what it looks like. So basically, the longer your distance away from the corner is, the higher your back will go. So if it would only be 3 centimeters, it would be lower. If you make it higher, even higher, up to you. And then what we're gonna do, we will cut off the fabric. I would recommend cutting more or less 1 centimeter away from the seam. Again, I need my measuring tape. I'm gonna measure this. It's 12 centimeters for me. And now I'm gonna take, again, my flower fabric. And because it was 11 centimeters, this time I'm gonna make it even longer. So I think I'm gonna make it 15 centimeters. And now I'm gonna take this part again. I'm gonna lay the good side facing down, so the dull side where you can't see the color so colorful is facing us. And make sure that there's a bit of fabric hanging over again. And now I'm just gonna sew along it again.
And now we have to fold the fabric that was hanging over. We fold it down, and then we're doing exactly what we did earlier. First we fold the fabric towards the edge of the fabric, and then we all fold it over again, so it's over the yellow fabric, and then we sew along it. And at the end of it we also have to do the same. Now there's only one step left to do, and that is to repeat the same steps for all of your other corners, and then you're finished with your makeup bag. I just decided to add the label for my clothing brand, and I sewed it on front of my makeup bag.
So here's what my makeup bag looks like now. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really hope you were able to follow along. Please send me photos if you follow this tutorial. I would love to see how yours turn out. And yeah, it took me, like, I had to make a few makeup bags until I was able to figure out how to actually make this bag and what's the easiest way for me to do it. And for me, it turned out that it's really the easiest way if I finish off the raw edges like this, and at the same time I feel like it looks super cute. So yeah, send me photos of yours. I want to see which colors you make yours in. And I'm posting sewing tutorials every week here on YouTube, so I hope I see you next week at my next tutorial. Goodbye!